Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me today for this brief introduction to a year-long online meditation immersive that I'm going to be offering beginning in January. So this runs from January 8th to December 20th, 2025. And the subtitle of the Awakened Living program is Meeting Life with Compassion and Wisdom. And so we're going to take a secular, non-denominational lens to the very, very early teachings of the Buddha. And I will be offering that secular, very trauma-informed lens, in addition to everything that I've gleaned in the past several years around neuroscience, neuropsychology, also somatic psychology and things like that. So yeah, it'll be quite a deep dive, And so here I'm just offering a very brief introduction into some of the teachings that I'll be covering. And I'll give a little bit of details on how one can go ahead and register for the course if you wish. So I have organized 4 semesters, and so our first semester runs for 12 weeks. Again, that's January 8th, and it'll conclude on March 29th, 2025. And in the first semester, over these 12 weeks, we're exploring what's known in the Buddhist tradition as the 4 truths, or the 4 practices, or 4 tasks. The first one is the truth of suffering, that suffering exists for all living beings. If we have a body, we're destined to encounter some sort of pain or stress, anxiety, fear. So suffering is. Then we'll explore the truth of how suffering arises. Shorthand for that is our craving. We'll explore the letting go of craving and letting go of our emotional reactivity, so essentially the letting go of suffering. And so those are the 3 of the 4 truths, and then the 4th is what's known as the Eightfold path. And so in those first 3 weeks, we're just looking at the first 2 of the Eightfold path. So that's skillful view and skillful intention. And they're given the title skillful because they tend to lead us in the direction of a more flourishing life, a happier life. In addition to the 4 Noble Truths and the first 2 limbs of the Eightfold Path, view and intention, we're also going to be looking at practices that help us bring a heartfelt, non-judgmental awareness to our own physical body, to what's known as feeling tones or our hedonic experience, pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. And we'll also bring that non-judgmental frame to the activity of our own mind and heart. So these are the first 3 of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So we'll be covering all of that in the first 12 weeks. So just to unpack a little bit more of that, I don't want to give a complete teaching here on this video, but just to unpack a little bit of what we will be exploring. We have the 4 tasks here on the screen, such as dukkha. Dukkha is the Sanskrit word for suffering or stress or dis-ease. It can be fully known, and it has been fully known. Such as the arising of dukkha. It can be let go of, and it has been let go of. Such as the cessation of our suffering, our struggle. It can be experienced, it has been experienced. And such as the marga, the path. It can be cultivated, it has been cultivated. And that's basically what we'll be doing over the entire year, is cultivating the path that allows us to encounter our life with less and less struggling, less and less dis-ease, and less and less suffering, like that. So this is the practice, we notice the arising of our dukkha, our suffering, our struggle, And we can embrace that. Say, yeah, this is a part of life. This is the human experience. We all struggle from time to time, right? Now, there are going to be experiences in our life that land outside of our window of tolerance that we can't necessarily embrace right away, right? And that gives rise to our reactivity: anger, fear, craving, longing, desire, numbing out, whatever it is. And we can look at a set of exercises and practices throughout the year that can help us let go of that reactivity. That letting go of reactivity has a certain feel, a certain quality to it. And we're invited to behold that quality, to really allow that somatic experience of letting go to nourish us and to really inform our movements in life going forward. And then again, cultivating the path. That's the whole year's project, is cultivating the path. So in addition to all of that, in the first semester, I mentioned we're going to be exploring the hedonic tone of the present moment, whether that's pleasant or neutral or unpleasant. This is actually very important because this is where our craving arises from. That very, very immediate experience of pleasantness, neutral or unpleasantness, and how we develop habits that are designed to bring us to pursue the pleasant, to numb out around the neutral, and to push against the unpleasant. And we can bring those habits and patterns into question. Really beautiful practice. And then in the first semester, we're also going to be discussing skillful view and skillful intention. I have right view, right intention. The translation right is a bit problematic. I prefer skillful view, skillful intention. These are the views and intentions that can really help us live a more healthy, flourishing, and happy life. And then I also mentioned three of the four foundations of mindfulness. Mindfulness of body. We'll spend 1 month really getting into the somatic experience of the present moment, exploring how we can bring that heartfelt, non-judgmental awareness to the body, then to our feeling tones, pleasant, neutral, unpleasant, and the activity of the heart and mind. Like that. So 1 month on each of those throughout the first semester. We take a little break. We come back March 23rd, and we run from March 23rd to July 12th, again, another 12-week semester. And this will be taking a deep dive into mindful speech, learning how to communicate in a way that leads to more harmony and satisfaction, not only in our lives, but the lives of the people we're speaking to. We'll also be taking a dive into skillful action and livelihood. Yeah. And the mindfulness practices in the second semester will focus primarily on what's known as the 5 hindrances and the awakening factors, the 7 awakening factors. We'll also circle back around and do some more somatic practicing, getting deeper and deeper into our embodied experience. So I mentioned there, speech, action, and livelihood. We'll be taking a deep dive, at least spending 1 month practicing speaking with a partner in a skillful and mindful way. Also active listening. And then we'll explore different ways of bringing action into the world, compassionate action, actions of kindness and care. And then exploring different ways of livelihood, how we can bring that into our life and support ourselves and the world around us as well. And so, yes, I mentioned the Dhammas, the 5 hindrances, and the 7 factors of awakening. This is all in our second semester. And so here they are just on the slide. I just wanted to show them side by side. So the 5 hindrances, or the aspects of the human experience that keep us from leading a flourishing life, those are craving, aversion, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt. And again, right now, I'm just kind of reading through this. We're going to spend months on these qualities, meditating on them, getting to know them, exploring different techniques of how we can let the hindrances go and really flourish into the awakening factors. And those awakening factors are mindfulness, investigation or curiosity, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. And just to highlight here, one of the things I love about the teachings of the five hindrances, the awakening factors, is we already know these, right? They're not foreign to our experience, right? And so we just pay attention to what's already happening, right? Bringing that non-judgmental frame to what does hinder us in our trajectory in our life, and what supports us. And in that exploration, we can water those seeds of the awakening factors, again, leading us to a more flourishing and happier life. Semester 3 is a bit shorter. It's an 8-week program. It's based on the mindfulness-based stress reduction curriculum. Some of you might be familiar with MBSR. But my focus for these 8 weeks, from July 30th to September 20th, will be focusing on widening what's known as our window of tolerance. Right? We all, as human beings, have a window of tolerance. This is a concept that describes how much activating or unpleasant experience that we can hold without getting reactive. And so throughout these 8 weeks, we'll look at ways of nourishing our nervous system so that we can gradually widen our window of tolerance, so that we get less and less reactive towards our external experiences. So I just put a little frame here, kind of illustrating, this. We all, again, have this window of tolerance. If we, get too energized or activated, we go into hyper arousal. And if we get we lose energy, we get numbed out or zoned out, spacey, then we're going to hypoarousal, where our energy just gets zapped and we get foggy-minded or dull in the mind, right? And again, these are normal, natural experiences. They're natural defense mechanisms for when our external world is bringing too much, too fast, too soon. Right? Too much, too fast, too soon will either lead us into fight, flight, or we go into hyperarousal, or freeze, or we go into hypoarousal. So we'll be exploring the window of tolerance, and again, 8 weeks of really taking a deep dive into a set of practices that can help us navigate our life with less and less reactivity, less and less fear, less and less anger. And then 4th semester, we're going to circle back around. We're going to look a little bit more at the 8th of the Eightfold Path, the concentration factor. We'll also look at the hindrances, the awakening factors again. And then we'll spend the bulk of those 12 weeks on what's known as the 4 immeasurable hearts, or 4 immeasurable qualities of heart and mind, as they're known in some traditions. And those are loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And so that takes us around throughout the whole year, right? And wow, I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. It looks like such a deep and thorough and rich year-long course. I'm very, very excited about it. Yeah, and so we'll be, taking a deep dive into some formal meditation practices, actually quite a few formal practices designed to give us the real embodied experience of the body, of our feeling tones, of our heart and mind, and of the awakening factors and the hindrances. We'll also be looking at meditations that help us to explore the Eightfold Path, and how we can use mindfulness and meditation to gradually widen our window of tolerance, right? But we'll also be exploring an abundance of informal practices. These are practices that we do when we're not meditating. How we bring these practices to our day-to-day experience and really into our life. So just to recap here, this is again the Awakened Living year-long program. It's all online. Everything is offered live. Right? Nothing is pre-recorded. Right? And so we'll be meeting twice a week. Section A meets from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's in Thailand time. That's where I'm located, in Thailand. Okay, so that's 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays, East Coast time. Right, so that's section A. So, if you live in the East Coast and you want an evening section, this would be the one to sign up for. Right, or if you're in Europe, it'll be in the middle of the night, so it probably wouldn't work out that well for you. So there's section B. So section B might be a little more accessible to the, I'm noticing a typo while I'm talking here. Section B might be a little bit more accessible to people in Europe and Australia and New Zealand. Section B is 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So that would be 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. That's where the typo is. Actually, I can go ahead and fix it while I'm talking. a.m. to 9:30 a.m. There we go. So 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings, East Coast time. So that might be a little more accessible to people who are in Europe, or people who like a later start in the day in Thailand or in the Philippines and Asia, elsewhere in Asia. Section B might be the section you would want to sign up for. If you go to my website, suchsweetthunder.org, there is a time conversion link. So all you do is click on that link and plug in the time that you're looking for, and it will calculate for you what it will be like in your time zone. Okay, so we have section A, that's in the evenings, East Coast time, Tuesdays and Fridays, East Coast time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., section A. Section B is on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings, East Coast time, 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Yeah. So the whole package includes one-to-one sessions. There'll be guided meditations that I'll be guiding live, and those will all be recorded and sent out so you can practice them over the week. There's also an emphasis on community. There's plenty of sharing time. There'll be breakout rooms and things like that. And when you sign up for the course, you'll be paired with at least one other person, perhaps two other people, depending on how many people register for the course. And this will be your study pod for the entire year. So you'll have at least one other running partner, so to speak, someone to practice with, someone to check in with throughout the whole year to create that community energy and support. Also plenty of Q&A sessions and things like that, Q&A time during the 2 hours that we meet twice a week. Everything that I offer is offered within a trauma-sensitive lens. I think I mentioned already that I am a certified clinical trauma professional, so I've done quite a bit of study around trauma healing and trauma work and things like that, so I do tend to frame things in that trauma-sensitive language. And even though I'll be drawing primarily on the teachings of the Buddha, everything in this course is offered in a non-denominational way. So if you practice Buddhism or any religion, all are welcome. No religion, very welcome. Please feel free. I myself identify as an agnostic, but I have also benefited tremendously from these teachings, and that's why I tend to offer them. So for more information on the Awaken Living Retreat program, please do go to the website suchsweetthunder.org. You can find out all about pricings there, scholarships, and go ahead and register there. There's a form for registration if you wish to go ahead. If you have any other questions, you can email me. My email is here on the slide as well, chrisluard@yahoo.com, or you can email me through the website as well. So I think that's all I've got to say, and I'll go ahead and ring the bell to close this out. Thank you.